Good morning, everybody. This is kind of cool and weird. I'm used to working with smaller groups. Hopefully you've taken a look at kind of what my background is. When I usually start out, I'm not really worried about talking about me or what my qualifications are. What I want to do is present some ideas and let those tell the story themselves. So I'll have more about this at the end. Everything you think about one-to-one, if you haven't done it yet, everything you think about one-to-one is wrong. A lot of people think it's going to end up looking like that, where people are transcribing data mindlessly, quietly, into a database, okay? When we went one-to-one, the neighboring school district next to us was sure that that would mean less kid interaction with teachers. And here's what I got to tell you. It's way more. It's way more. It's a totally different animal than what you may think. You may think, oh, all my Scantrons will be online, so I don't have to deal with the paper. It's very different than that. I do offer free lifetime tech support, so my wife always freaks out when I say this one. But if you will tweet me or email me, and 4 months from now you say, John, my administrator's saying we can't do this, and you mentioned that thing. Remember that thing? Feel free to hit me up later. I'm not the kind of presenter that presents and then gets whisked away in a limousine. And my handlers and my people clarify all my email. Okay, so touch base with me on Twitter. I will answer. We're going to start by doing some work, okay? Because the title of this session is How, right? We've heard plenty of things about, oh, when we start doing Common Core, these are the reasons. We want kids to be creative, and we want kids to be open-ended, and we want kids to think. Well, we're going to do some stuff. So let me click out of this real quick. Many of you got a worksheet, and this is the time we're going to use it. And I'm going to show you a really cool website by a guy named Dan Myers. How many people know Dan Meyer? Okay, he's awesome. So this is graphingstories.com. And you guys should have, and there's not enough for everybody, but wave your hand if you have one of the worksheets. Okay, good. And they made a nice distribution. If you don't have it, don't worry. You can go online and print it out later. But the idea is, let's learn by doing, right? Instead of me telling you how cool this is, let's do one. What is one of the big bugaboos in math as a non-math guy? This whole quadratics thing. And we always start with the irrational. Well, x and y are important because, and -1 and +1 x are important because. Well, this is a very low intensity way to teach kids how graphing works. And so what Dan Meyer has done is made some videos. So I need you guys to watch this video with me. This one's called Bum Hide Off the Ground. No, it's not a homeless person. And so let's just give this a watch here, and I'll full screen it. Are you seeing what's going on? So what I want you to do, if you have the worksheet, is I want you to label the coordinates the way it's listed there. See how I'm scaffolding it? So we're going to wait a second here. I'm going to freeze it. Okay, so what do you need to do? Is your chart labeled like this? You have time and bum hide off ground, so add that. Because we're learning how to label by doing it instead of me telling you. It gets a lot more entertaining, so just hang on for a second. And if you didn't do that, okay, just bear with me. All right, so here's the next segment. Bum hide off ground. Ready, set, go.
My goodness. She has to fix that.
Up there.
Here she comes, look. Wow, look at her.
Just loves it.
Whoa.
Notice over here, these are frames that coordinate to your grid. So has she moved at this point? So what should your chart look like? Right? Chart should look like this. Kids love the audio, right? Now, try to chart it. Do your best. There's no wrong answer. We haven't done this before. Try to chart what that looks like. And you have to kind of guess. How high off the ground? Was she 40 feet off the ground when she started? Was she 28 feet off the ground? Pick a number and try to chart what that looks like. And have you done this activity before? No, you haven't. So guess what? Don't worry about being right now. We're learning how to play the game. I'm going to do another one in a second. We'll go for accuracy on that. So you guys kind of doing some charting? Making a little, and estimates are okay for now. We're just getting a feel for this. The first one that's finished gets lunch with me. You're buying, but you get lunch with me. So just let me know. And share it with your neighbors. Hold it up and say, look what I did. I'm not seeing that right now. I'm going to come down and talk to you guys. Hold something up, show your neighbors. She's working real hard. That's cool. Does Common Core allow for iterative failure? Yes. You don't have schema for this yet. When you do the second one, it's going to feel a lot more comfortable. Now the big reveal. Here comes the big reveal. The answer.
My goodness. She has to
Who
fix
is he
that.
up there?
Here she comes, look. Wow, look at her.
Just loves it.
Whoa!
Does that make sense now? Okay, so let's do another one. Luckily, there are multiple charts on there. Notice how it says download video. Why would they allow you to download video? In case you want to use it for a flipped lesson, you can send it out with the kids. In case you have slow bandwidth at your school, should not be an impediment. This is my next favorite one, is distance from camera. And so move to a new chart, and let's see if we can get this closer to real time now that we've practiced. Uh-oh, I'm in a little artifact there. Let's try that again. No. Okay, so let's do it this way. All right, distance from camera. One more time. Oh, Vimeo fail. Hold on a second here. Try refresh. There we go. Distance from camera. Okay, so see, are you feeling more comfortable what you would be doing next? Distance from camera. We're going to get a very different chart this time because of the movement involved. Regular speed. This guy's quite an athlete, by the way. Half speed if you want to try to chart in real time. Okay, let's see about charting it. Distance from camera. And this is, again, you guys are just, it's a Friday. You're supposed to be off today. We're just going for a feel. What does that look like? Oh, I'm giving away the answer by accident. Do you see the difference in what's going on there, though? What if your math class did this for 8 to 10 minutes every day for 40 days? How would they do? Would we be able to jump into quadratics better because they had a feel for what we're doing? So to me, that's a pretty good example of kind of Common Core in a nutshell. I'm not getting any audience response. Like, yes. All right, yeah, there you go. Here. It's not that I need personal praise. I just need to know how we're doing. So that is graphingstories.com. Look how many videos they have ready to go. And that's by a really cool cat, Dan Meyer. And it's a little outgrowth of another tool he has called BuzzMath, which is 6th or 8th grade Common Core stuff. To me, if we were doing that with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders for a few weeks every year, our math problems would be less. And that's a more accessible feel. Okay, flip your little paper over. Now I'm going to do something English language arts. Okay, English language arts. All right, some other Common Core thoughts for you. Can we still read Hatchet in Common Core? Yes. What's going to be the difference when we read Hatchet? The student product. The content doesn't change. You guys are already content experts. So when you read Hatchet, maybe the kids, instead of writing a book report that sounds like this, I like this book. This is a good book. When my brother's in 5th grade, I hope that he will read this book because it is a good book. I will show this book to my mom because she will like this good book. I hope that this good book is in our library because it is a good book. You guys get those, right? Okay, so in Common Core, it's going to look like this. Explore the themes in Hatchet, and let's make a website about that. Explore and map the characters. Explore the storyline or the multiple storylines. Talk about the types of conflict. It's a totally different approach between, I like this book. It is a good book. So I teach a lot with video clips. Do you guys know who Hall Davidson is? Hall Davidson? He's my edu grandpa. Well, daddy. Maybe daddy's a better one. I saw him speak in about 2004, and he said, and think about this if you're a language arts teacher, how old is cave painting? Cave painting is 50 to 70,000 years old, right? How old is an alphabet? We're talking about 4,000 years. Hall's assertion way back in 2003 was that people are storytellers, and they try to tell stories with pictures first, and it wasn't that effective because it's really hard to make stop motion on the side of a cave. So somewhere along the line, we invented an alphabet to tell that story easier, right? Have you ever seen the projects where they have found that some of the cave paintings are stop motion? Photographers have gone in and taken pictures of what's going on, and it turns out they're telling a sequence of events, which kind of looks scatterbrained when you look at it as a wholeness. Anyways, Hall got me really thinking, do I need to read an entire book with my kids to understand irony? Does it have to wait 4 weeks to talk about irony? And I'm not saying I'm against long format reading. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about instructional time. Do I have to teach kids literary devices only in the context of a book? No. So this is something I've been doing over the last couple of years. I want you guys to watch this little video clip. And on your little worksheet, you're going to see the 5 types of conflict. Do you guys see those? So you have character versus character, character versus self, character versus nature, character versus machine, and character versus society. Watch this video clip with those in mind. It's pretty entertaining.
Stop.
What?
Stop. Wait. Don't eat the cake. Well, yeah, right.
And this is not an exaggeration. I've been using that video with kids since 2003. Okay? So on your little organizer, do a little talk amongst each other here. I'm gonna rest for a minute. Talk amongst each other. See if you can find all types of conflict in that element. Give me a quick snapshot of all the types of conflict. Can somebody come up with an example of each type of conflict? And you know what I love about teaching this way? I don't know what the right answer is, because it's me against 80 people. You guys are probably going to come up with something better. My job in this scenario is to tell you we need to find those in works of art that we don't know. It's discovery. So talk amongst each other for a minute, and I'm going to go talk to Andrew. Okay, that's enough wait time. Character versus character. Who can give me an example of character versus, was there character versus character conflict? This is the part where you yell out something. What? The father and the son. Was there some friction there? Did the friction dissipate? Yeah, that's okay. Little kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade think the good guy and the bad guy have to not like each other the whole time, but it changes. That's what makes stories cool. Any divergent answers between father and son? Could it be the cake boy and the milk lady? Could there be some? There could be some, and it resolves very quickly. But for a moment, they're having a moment. How about character versus self? To speak out or not to speak out, the cake or not the cake, right? So again, that's an element of looking at this from, other than smiling at the story, being able to elaborate on what happened. How about character versus society? He's weird. I'm in 6th grade again. I've been transported to 6th grade. He's weird. Can we elaborate upon that? Right, he seems to be psychic. He has, it seems like that he has a struggle. Shall I reveal this? Because right. And it's clear that there's a little separation there. So you're jumping down to character versus society, which is perfectly fine, of course. So there's definitely a split between him and his dad and all the others. So, and then character versus nature. The tree, right? It's not a deep example like if you were talking about the movie The Perfect Wave, or if you're talking about The Bear, right? There would be more nature, but there's an element of nature there. And character versus machine in this one, you could talk about the car. And this is the key: is maybe that's not a clear, perfect example of character versus machine. But at least we're talking about, could that be? We're saying, let me think about that. It's just more of a conversation starter. So what I do with my students to start off before we do our lit circles every year is we watch about 3 videos like this a day to get up to speed. And then guess what they're going to do for their homework? Same thing in whatever you're reading. And guess what they do? They come back on Monday and go, we got to watch the new AT&T commercial. And I go, why? Oh my God. Character versus society like crazy. So all of those commercials that our kids are bombarded with are now my learning playground because I gave them an overlay. I've actually had kids do lit circles on TV shows. Your homework this weekend is to analyze the Brady Bunch. And I have to teach them only a half-hour show because you don't have the techniques to do the Titanic yet. It's too big. It's too big. Don't do Platoon. Don't do Red Dawn. Just take it easy. Let's do Boy vs. World, or give me a half-hour show, one of those little Miley Cyrus shows or something. The old ones, though. Not the new ones. Okay, now we're going to do another one. See the other little organizer here? And I'm telling you, I think that this is heavy-duty Common Core because when kids get an open-ended answer on Common Core that says, analyze the character, right? Analyze the character. You know what I get when I do character analysis with kids the first time? I have them analyze themselves. And you know what they write about themselves? Brown hair. I'm like, dude, that's all you got is brown hair? How about the freckles? Give me something to describe you except brown hair. Or smile. That's what kids will write about themselves. So I typically have them do this first activity about themselves because it reveals how poor they are at characterizing themselves. Now, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the same commercial. In my class, we might have looked at the conflict from the boy's point of view, and then guess what? Same exact commercial from the dad's point of view. And just like that, we're talking about point of view. Is that a big deal in understanding characters? Okay, next we're going to do characterization with a fun video from Saturday Night Live. And this is a kid favorite. This actually destroyed the lunch line a couple times because the kids are just really into this commercial.
You know what I love about tacos?
What's that? Everything. Do tacos get any more kick butt than this?
Oh, they're about to, all right. New at Taco Town. We take a crunchy all-beef taco, smother it in nacho cheese, lettuce, tomato, and our special Southwestern sauce. Then we wrap it in a soft flour tortilla with a layer of refried beans in between.
Sweet.
Then we wrap that in a savory corn tortilla with a middle layer of Monterey Jack cheese.
Awesome!
And it gets even awesomer when we take a deep-fried gordita shell, smear on a layer of our special guacamolito sauce, and wrap that around the outside.
This is pretty big.
It gets bigger because we bake it in a corn husk filled with pico de gallo, then wrap that in an authentic Parisian crepe filled with egg, Gruyere, merguez sausage, and portobello mushrooms.
Can I eat it now?
Sure. But not before we take the whole thing and wrap that in a Chicago-style deep dish meat lovers pizza.
Pizza? Now that's what I call a taco.
Well, it's not a Taco Town taco until we roll it up in a blueberry pancake, dip it in batter, and deep fry it until it's golden brown. Then we serve it all in a commemorative tote bag filled with spicy vegetarian chili. It's 15 great tastes all rolled into one.
Taco Town!
The new
Okay. You see where I'm going with this? So, let's characterize this fellow. Take a moment, discuss with your friends. Now, when I do this with kids, again, what's the first activity? Characterize yourself. And I need to know 4 characteristics about yourself. Does Common Core allow for one answers? No. You got to go a little deeper. I need a string of answers. So using that as a visual, let's characterize Andy Samberg in this commercial. Speak amongst yourselves. Andrew's moved over here, so that's where I'm going now. And he's with Wayne. They're fun. Okay. All right. So this is the hardest part for kids. What's his name? Right, except in this story. That's right, because I already screwed that part up. In the story, what would his name be? Did they ever say his name? I don't want this answer, the guy. Right? Taco patron. I like that. A little Latin roots in there. Taco patron, or it could be the that's awesome guy. I'm trying to give the kids a language for how do you create a character persona through what you name them. Does that make sense? I don't want the guy. So we're going to go taco patron if you're filling this in at home. Describe him. What is his characteristic look? What is his look? And you can go beyond just physical appearance. It can be his kind of style beyond that. Goofy, yeah? He's playing that up, right? We can go for the obvious, the hair, right? How about this? And this is where I start extending kids' thinking. College student? No? College dropout? Dimpled chin? That's a unique thing, right? So we're looking for some things like that. Next, actions. What's he do? He tries to eat a taco, right? That's one of his actions. What is another action that he does? Does he yell about Taco Town? And this is kind of not fair. For the purposes of time, I only showed you the video once, right? With kids, I'd have probably shown it 3 times, and I'd let them work on the worksheet while it's playing. That helps. So actions. Tries to eat tacos, right? Interrupts announcer, gets interrupted by announcer. Dialogue. What's something he says? That's awesome. Or Taco Town. That's what really messed up the cafeteria line because my kids are all lined up. And every kid is like, Taco Town! And the cafeteria lady doesn't know what they're talking about. She's like, what are they doing? And they're like, I'd like mine wrapped in a deep dish pizza and deep fried. And she's going, what are they doing? Interior monologue. This is a double-headed game for me. If you want kids to do well on a test, I played football at a high level. I played football in college. And what our coach would tell us is, when you don't know what to do, use your technique. Think about that. When a kid is taking a test, if they don't have an interior monologue, how are they going to do? They're going to guess. Guessing on Common Core is going to be bad because there are a lot of open-ended things. So we have to give kids an interior monologue when they get challenges. But in the perspective of this guy, what are things he might say to himself? Can I eat this now? I like that one. Give her a round of applause for can I eat this now? Is that good? There are other possibilities, because remember, this is open-ended. What's another possibility of something that he would be likely to say? Are you kidding me? What? You want me to eat what? The way I teach this to kids is I just go back to Toy Story, because we've got a strong schema there, and I say, what are some things that Woody thinks about? Is Buzz going to replace me? So you give them a schema and a perspective. What does society think of these guys? They're goofballs. How about fanboys? They clearly love their taco town, right? So how does society perceive them? And this is the key for the kids is, because the kids will want to tell you how they perceive the character. And you have to teach the kids, no. What society thinks of the character in this setting, right? So it's not what you think as a viewer is what the people in this society think of. And guess what I have my kids doing later for our lit logs? Same activity on characters from their book. So that's a pretty good example of some how. Now I'm going to get into some more theory stuff. Am I doing okay so far? All right, good. All right, next. You guys have this problem? Last year I went to Austria to teach, and I had all these German people, and I'm thinking OCD, right? German people. I'm like, do you guys do science fair? And they go, yeah. Do your kids wait to do it on Sunday night too? Oh, yeah. And then I was like, yes, it's not just America. So I need to teach you guys about the suck, because this is a big problem in Common Core. What are we going to be doing in Common Core? Projects. This is what I hear teachers say in the staff lounge. I'd love an amen real loud if you agree. Wait till the end of the statement. I don't know why they didn't finish on time. I gave them plenty of time. Okay, when you say to a kid, I'm giving you plenty of time, you know what he hears? I don't have to start today. Or tomorrow. And then Friday they roll in and they're like, I'm pretty sure I can do this in 11 minutes. Why'd you give me a D? We have to break this process down. We have to create milestones. So this is something that I was reading the book of Black Hawk Down, and there's an American GI kind of tradition that when you're stationed in a place you don't want to be in, you call it the suck, because it sucked a year of your life away. It's also not good to say where you are. So in the book, they could not say they were in Mogadishu. They had to say they were in the suck. And it occurred to me, this is what happens on every science fair project. So we named it the suck. Bear in mind, these next slides get taught to our school. And kids will say these words to us. Corippo, I'm in the suck. I'm in the suck. I don't know what to do. And so I've given them a language to approach this issue. So the suck looks like this. Stacy says, hey, let's build a fort. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Excitement level. Yeah. We can have a slide and a trapdoor and a periscope and a solar lights, and we're popping. Then we go out to the tree and we go, this is going to be a lot of work. I don't have a saw. I haven't ever sawed. And that's why tree forts have 900 nails stuck in, because nobody knows how to actually nail. And then you've now entered the suck at that point, where the fun is gone, and if we want to do this thing, it's going to be work. And then we stay right there. If we never exit the suck, that's where we stay forever. How many people have a project like that at home, right? Your bathroom's done except for one piece of tile. Your bathroom's done except for the shower rod. You're all in the suck. Just own this. And then this is what it should look like for master teachers. Kids get excited. This is where you say, and you've done this, hey, do you guys want a TV show? Yeah. And then you tell them, you got to stay after school, and we have to write a script. And like, ah. So then reality hits. Now our job, and this is the key, our job is to make this happen right here. Ready? And here's what I tell them. Why would I give you a week to do a project that you're going to do at home in an hour? Let's just do it right now. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and do this right now. My favorite thing is when parents call me and say, I didn't even know they were working on state reports. That's the best. Shorten the cycle. Okay? So, my professional job is being a suck defeater. And guess what? As an administrator, teachers are in the suck. I brought 15 teachers up to fall Q. You know what? Last night I'm getting emails. Hey, what's the plan? As a film teacher, this is the other problem. My video kids, they think it's a game show. Only 11 minutes, only 9 minutes, only 4 minutes, done! Yes! And I go, dude, there's no buzzer in this class. I want you to finish early. I want you to finish before you're supposed to be done, because then you can reflect. Relax is good too, though. Reflect. And I've built this into my grading policies when I teach. You get bonus points for being done early. Think about that for a second. That's the only way you can get bonus points in my class. You're done early. If you're done late, you pay a penalty, just like at the DMV. You can still turn it in, but you're going to pay. So, this is how this goes in real life. Project announced. Excitement level spikes. Long drag of no activity. Thursday morning, I think I'm going to do this. Okay? Typical student activity curve. This is the curve I'm going for. This is the curve I'm going for. Right here. I have too many transitions. Fast start. A little reflection. Early finish. More reflection. Kids will bring me a report and go, do I get extra points? And I'll go, yeah, but you only have 2 sources, and that's a personal pronoun, and you need 3 pictures. And they go, I can do that in 5 minutes. Well, go do it. Then I'll give you an A. And they're like, yes. And we've seen B students figure this out. We actually have a presentation that we teach them called Game Our Gradebook. Beat the gradebook. Knock yourself out. Do all the projects early and get yourself 20 points insurance. What's the bad part? What is the bad part? Why do kids get F in your classes? They don't do it. It's not that they can't. They don't. So we've got to change that. So that's the way I want it to look in my classroom. And especially video teaching taught me this, because do you think George Lucas finished Star Wars 2 minutes before the studio wanted it? Oh yeah, Star Wars, it's done, it's awesome. No, they test it, and they do dailies, and they show audiences, go, do you like it when Darth Vader dies, or should we do that different? They change stuff. So you have to be aware, too, your kids have been conditioned to finish at the last second. If you like these ideas, you're going to have to be patient, because you're going to have to uncondition them. The teacher preceding you likely not only didn't conquer the suck, they probably Pavlovianly enforced the suck. And here's where you'll see it as a high school teacher. You get that freshman who's missing 40 assignments. Guess what? They're 7th and 8th grade teachers. When they get to 40 assignments missing, the 7th and 8th grade teachers go, oh, he won't be able to do these. Oh, just do 10. I see that. I've been a middle school teacher for a decade. Oh, just do 10 and we'll get you caught up. You know what the kid's thinking? Winner. Winner. And they are complicit in that failure because they won't say that out loud, but that's what's happening. The rule in my class is you will do everything. Some will be for less points, but you will do everything. Yeah, watch what I can make Pavlov, as soon as I drool, he writes in the book. That's us right there. The kids are doing that to us. Oh, I'm just not so smart. Can you give me 20 assignment discount? No. That's just a fun slide. Okay. When you go one-to-one, when they run out of worksheets, they just keep going. Because guess what? They got the internet at their fingers. I didn't realize this until I was at a one-to-one high school. I used to, that's why I have this slide. I'm Mr. Schneebly sometimes. And remember the line where he says, I'm hungover and I got a case of the runs, so just read. You can't do that in a one-to-one classroom. They will build websites while you're not watching. So I used to limit my classroom. I said, Cripple's not feeling so good today. Here's 10 worksheets, shut up. I'll see you at recess. Here's 4 worksheets. Read when you're done. Yeah, that doesn't work in a one-to-one classroom because the kids have knowledge and they're going to keep doing stuff because that's what kids do. So you need to be aware of that piece. Your challenge is to set them up with what they do next. So like in my film class, there was always the film project, right? But then you get the kid that goes, oh, Mikey's not here, so we can't shoot today. Oh, you think you're going to just sit on Instagram? No. I always have side dishes going. So if you're not working on your main project, guess what you're working on? Your director's research report. And I just smile and go, oh, no problem, just work on your director's research report. Mikey's gone less when they know that they're going to have to work on that at the same time. And then this is another thing. When CSTs first came out, that was my second year of teaching when standards came out, right? And I saw these teachers run out, and they took the pile of printouts from CDE, and they put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and then they would do this. 1.1 today, tomorrow, 1.2. The next day, 1.3. What's coming next? 1.4. Because if I get through the book, I'm winning. The problem is, all of those things are now being taught out of context to each other. There's no context. There's no final culminating thing. How am I doing on time, Andrew? What time is it? 10:56. Why do I pay you to be my assistant? Oh my God. All right, so this is one of the things that we tried to develop when I was at Minarets High School. It's a one-to-one school. It's just 6 years new. So our students have never known anything but MacBooks and Google Apps from day one. Okay? They've never known anything but. So this is something I rolled out to staff because presenting is core skills at the highest level. It's great to be a reader. It's super great to be a writer. It's really good to be able to summarize what you read and write. But the ultimate is to persuade, right? And if you're not doing presentations, you kind of miss that part. And this is all online too if you guys want. I love that you take pictures because that's one form of saying this is okay, unless you're sending it to your principal saying this guy's crazy. But I'll put the slide deck up later, so don't worry about that stuff. So we made some interdisciplinary templating ideas. Is anybody recognizing Marzano language in there? Joe, can I get an amen on that? Amen. Okay, good. Thank you, Joe. These are the things that actually raise test scores. But guess what I don't see very often in a science presentation? Comparing this to that. We do plant cells, then we do animal cells, but we never compare them. We talk about General Lee, but we completely forget to compare him to General Grant. Comparing is a big deal. We don't teach kids how to summarize. We say, summarize. And then this is what we get. General Grant was a cool general. He was a good general. He won the Civil War. He's my favorite general because I think you like General Grant. Thank you. Right? Am I wrong? That's what you get because we haven't given them a technique. Go back to football. Execute the technique. We say, summarize. The number one things your kids hate about standardized textbooks, reflect. Ask your kids, what's your technique for reflecting? I try to answer what you would like. That's not real reflection. So comparing can be this easy, and I've done this with sophomore English students. I want you to compare a Big Mac to a double-double, and you know what learned helplessness is, right? This is how learned helpless they are. I've never heard of Big Mac. Oh, do you like Western bacons? Because I do. Yeah, I do. Compare that. Oh, I don't eat meat. What are your two favorite fruits? Oh, plums and oranges? Compare those. Because this activity is not about what we're comparing. It's about, can you give me 5 things? And this is where you have to start. Where do a lot of teachers start with, compare Chaucer to, the kids don't have any schema, and the activity is to compare. So I start off with things that are easy, but then you can branch it out into. Imagine how much better a history class is if you're one-to-one and the kids have to compare 2 battles. Compare El Alamein to Thermopylae. Compare Dunkirk to Thermopylae. Is that a richer experience? And we know Joe already amened it. Marzano says when you compare, you're going to get better. Next one, annotation. I am stunned when I walk into an English class and I see kids that are juniors that can't do a parenthetical citation. You know why? We're so busy teaching, we forget that part. And it's easy. You just have to weld it in every day. And you can use EasyBib, right? Please tell me you guys know about EasyBib. Okay, I'm going to kind of skip this slide. But in my middle school classroom, I would have 2 large pizzas, a la Taco Town. 2 large pizzas for the kids that were the highest, number of EasyBib references in their account. Large pizza. All year competition. You're telling me something, JT, and I don't know what it is. Is this praise the Lord? 1 minute. Oh, 1 minute. Whoa, I got to go faster. Okay, so if you're going to summarize, because he's doing this, and I'm like, praise the Lord? You like it? It's good. 20 minutes. Woo! I can still make it in 1 minute, though. When summarizing, this is a big deal. Google it. Google advanced search. Somebody wanted but so then. It's an actual technique. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Somebody, the big bad wolf, wanted pigs for dinner, but they hid in the brick house, so he went hungry. What's the then? They live happily ever after. Come on. Come on. Anne Frank wanted to hide from the Nazis. Someone turned her in. She died in a concentration camp. What's the then? Her diary was discovered, and now she's famous. Her story got out. Christopher Columbus, this is a template of how to do this. And we try to use, now in this example I'm using pronouns, but I really force the kids to use proper nouns and complete sentences. I don't want a 4-page book report. I want you to get this thing down to a movie review that accurately describes who, what the main problem was, what the roadblock was, what the fix was, and then the then. Okay? And I have a contest every year to do Lord of the Rings. Get Lord of the Rings, all 3 movies, down to 5 sentences. Large pizza or Taco Town, whichever's better. Okay, summarizing. See, and this is the thing. Somebody wanted, but so then if you implement that school-wide, guess what you know now? You have an IKEA of summarizing. Everybody's doing it about the same way, but it can be wildly divergent. But as a teacher in English or a teacher in science, you still know that the kids are on or off the template, right? And then at a high school or junior high level, that starts turning into a review. You just have to sprinkle in a couple more spices, like add things that you liked or didn't like, compare it to another work of art or a movie or something, or your family member, and now bang, just like that, you have a review that is templated but incredibly wide open and divergent. Does that make sense? Okay, so somebody wanted, but so then, key quotes. I'm actually a journalism major because I was in advertising, but when I got into that as a college student, I never really realized the power of key quotes until I was in journalism, because in a newspaper you have to have what? Pull-out quotes. And this gets glossed over in English classes a lot, but guess what the pull-out quotes are? They're the most important part of the story from the character's perspective. So when we're doing keynotes and PowerPoints, we have our kids color code that this is a first-person quote relative to this, like Stacy, I'll bet Pasteur has some interesting quotes. Those should probably appear on the slides, but if you want to ramp it up, ask the kids to do first quotes and third-person quotes. And then they have to be color-coded. Does that make grading easier for me? And you know what kids will do? I can't find any quotes by Pasteur. And I tell them, it's not always in quotes. You have to figure it out. It doesn't always say, I am going to be quoted now. And I learned that from teaching film because I asked my kids to do, I need a first-person quote about Tarantino, and I need a first-person quote from Tarantino. And they're like, I can't find any quotes. I go, did you watch the press conference on YouTube? Yeah. Stuff he said that's important are quotes. And they're like, oh, what? That is cool. But they're literally looking for it to be in quotes. So I'm teaching. And that's what it looks like. You know what they look like. And then milestones. Again, this goes back to the suck. And Chris Scott does a really cool thing. Hey, Chris Scott just walked in. And we used to do the same thing. I called it the war wall. His is safer. What do you call it, Chris, when they move the Post-it notes? Scrum board. I called it the war wall because it reminded me of the movie War Games. But when we're doing a big report, there's vectors and areas right here, and each kid gets a Post-it note. When your notes are graded, move over. When your rough draft is written, move your Post-it note over. And I can look and see how we're doing visually. It's low tech, but it is sweet, right?
Yes.
That's it? Just yes?
I'm sold.
So I give kids grades for having their notes gathered. I have grades for notes are approved. I have grade for layout. I move to paper a lot because you have to break the copy-paste cycle. Can I get a round of applause for breaking the copy-paste cycle? I would not ask adults to do that, but for kids, we have to teach them that artificial process so they appreciate it. I don't let them start the keynote or the PowerPoint until the notes are graded, because this is what they will do. They will make a new keynote, and they'll start throwing stuff in there and try to shine it up. But remember, I'm on a template. That was by a 6th grader in 2001. Can you see elements I've been talking about? Who can identify some elements I'm talking about? You got first and third person quotes, right? And are we comparing? Right? And subtitle? Oh, you want to freak 6th graders out? Tell them their PowerPoints have to have a subtitle. They're like, what? And I use the example of movies. Chuck Norris, Vietnam, back to the beginning again for the first time. And then Chuck Norris, back to Vietnam, the third, before the back to the beginning for the first time. And so they learn that through a schema they know, which is media. So this girl did all of this, And do you know what the only question that I asked on this slide? Tell me about Caesar's political history. But that's the template that we use. Would that be good in a science class if we were talking about cell division, right? Compare plants, animals, show me pictures of the process, give me a quote from a famous cell biologist. Okay, now this was, we really didn't have much internet in those days. That was 2001, pre-YouTube and all that stuff. So, and it was 6th grade, so I probably should have had her source it a little bit more, but she's got a bibliography at the end. So remember CASC, compare, attribution, summarize, and key quotes. And you could put that in any class, right? Is there a class where you could not use that? Is there a grade level where you could not use that? All right. And then I already talked a little bit about this, side dishes, because in your classroom, some people will be finished first, and other people will take more time. So you need fallback activities. Have you guys seen Grammar Ninja? I don't know the URL, but Grammar Ninja rocks. And so we just have a consistent, ongoing example of when you're done, go play Grammar Ninja. Or Free Rice. Have you guys seen Free Rice? It's really cool. So you got to have a little menu of, if you're done with your main dish, work on appetizers for extra points or to fill time. The other one I think we really need to get careful with, and I see this in school after school. I'm in English, so I can't do math right now. I'm in math, so I can't do English right now. And what kids have figured out is that gives me 20 minutes to do nothing. We have to be able to be cross-curricular and say, show me your grade book. You've got missing assignments in math. I know this is English. Work on those now so that you don't have homework, so that you have better grades. We have to work together on that kind of stuff. Okay, maxing out with Google Forms. I'm going to skip that one. Have you guys seen Estimation 180? Okay, this is really sweet. It's by this guy, Andrew Stadel. Maybe he's in the audience. I don't know. I'm kind of stalking him lately. But he made a Google form, and look what it does. This is similar to the Graphing Stories concept. Make an estimate. How tall do you guys think he is? 5'10". 5'10". Okay. How confident are you? So you put, well, 1 or 2, right? And then share your reasoning. Why 5'10"? Why 5'10"? Based on the fence, which is a fine answer, right? It's a fine answer. Now, at this point, you can hit answer or you can hit other estimates. Now, could you print this little grid on paper and have your kids handwrite that if you're not one-to-one? And would it be the same activity every day? And would they get really involved and invested in this? And then when you hit other estimates, it'll show you every other person that's estimated his height. And then guess what day 2 is? Who can guess what day 3 is? Yep. And they just keep doing that to gain numeracy. What is your work investment in this project? Bookmarking it. But wouldn't this be a great startup every day while you're taking roll? Here's the kids, do the little form. You're going to get conversations about these numeracy and estimation things that you're not going to get off a worksheet that has one singular answer. So that's Estimation 180. And he's just using a Google form that's embedded. That's all he's done. It's nothing that magical. A couple other things. Have you guys seen Google Advanced Search? Say no if you haven't. Okay, so this is good. All right. If you click at the bottom, and they've changed this, so like sometimes on an iOS device, you have to literally go to the URL. But you can go in, and this is really cool. See right here, file type? You can search for already made PowerPoints. In my best days when I was 32 or 33 and still had energy, I would do like 1 or 2 PowerPoints a week, right? That's not enough to keep this machine flowing. So what I would do is go in and type Ancient Rome, Google Advanced Search. There's more than 6,000 already made. There's more than 6,000 already made. So I was using that concept to give my kids better content delivery faster, because how many PowerPoints a week can I make? 1 or 2. This search takes me 0.4 seconds, and then I've got a plethora. Well, in doing that, I realized, wait a minute, maybe I should make this into a kid-based activity. So I'm going to pick on Stacy some more, because she loves it. Look at that, she loves it. What if you teach your kids how to do Google Advanced Searches, and they have to go find 3 PowerPoints about ancient Rome, and they have to take notes on them that feature key concepts, keywords, and diagrammatic information, and then they have to Venn diagram 2 of the 3. What's my lesson prep on this activity? Once I have the worksheet, it's about 0.4 seconds, right? But what I'm teaching kids to do is to troll through lots of information, Look for things that are interesting or unique. You can have a lot of fun with this. Like, again, Stacy could be doing, she could do this. At least one of them has to be an EDU. And if it's Stanford or Michigan, I'm going to be really impressed. You can bring higher level content to kids and they can compare it. So that's a pretty easy workflow. You can also search by grade level, by domain, by reading level, and by Shockwave, PDF, and Excel. So you can access a lot of information that way. Instead of telling kids what to do, have them go get multiple items and compare them. Here's another example. Is it kind of a pain to teach kids how to use microscopes? Yeah, but what if they're finding 3 Shockwave-based microscope simulators and their job is to pick the best one? They don't realize that in doing that, they're learning a lot about microscopes, right? And you can do all kinds of stuff with it, all kinds of stuff. And then this is a little form that I made that supports that. So basically, I give the kids a search term, they gather the information in the focus areas, and then on the back side, they do the little Venn diagram. It's nothing that fancy. I mean, you guys could probably make something better. And then fast group presentations. This is called the Iron Chef concept. If you're a Google Apps school, this is magnificent, but you can do it in a non-Google Apps scenario. But what I do is, instead of me telling kids for 45 minutes, which like we like to say, that's what I'm doing to you right now, but you're adults, so you can handle this kind of stuff. Instead of Cornell notes and lecture, it's discovery learning, but I'm scaffolding it in. So the kids will get, this is the way it goes. One person is the team leader. They make a Google presentation. They share it to the other people on their team. Everybody can work on it at once now, correct? Hey, collaboration. Actual collaboration. And what they have to do is they work as a team. If you're going to do grading on group projects, please, for God's sakes, don't give the whole team a deduct because of one kid. You will destroy teamwork in your school. Each kid has to be responsible for a discrete portion. And I give them 15 minutes to build 1 slide each. So of these 4 ladies right here, you would each be doing 1 slide, 15 minutes. At the end of the 15 minutes, you're going to do a 2-minute presentation on your 1 slide each. Guess what my students are going to see? They're going to see 6 approaches at this concept in 1 period. And they will have built the knowledge, and that Google presentation they built, that lives on as their notes for later. So they're building the notes collaboratively. So here's kind of a couple of examples of what that could look like. When we were on the Hornet this summer for Q Rockstar, I decided to use this as a backdrop. So if you were in a group of people right now, one person's slide would be construction, one would be service history in that range, one would be service history in that range, and then the lucky person gets slide 5, which is paranormal things on the USS Hornet. And so then on each slide, remember the template of the girl from 2001? This is what I want on each slide. I want a title, I want a subtitle, I want 5 relevant facts, 2 pictures with a URL, and it's a primary doc, not from Wikipedia. Find something that's primary. And then you put a secret ingredient. Because if you watch Iron Chef, what's the fun part? We're all going to make something out of mussels. Mussel ice cream, delicious. So I give them a little secret ingredient. It's a little, and this is a little time buffer thing, right? So they need to find a squadron logo from squadrons that have served on the Hornet. If you were doing the French Revolution, your secret ingredient could be the people. Or let them eat cake, or cake references, or whatever you want to do with that. And so I give them a templated Google Doc, compare the 2 aircraft carriers. What are things? Because there was a CV-8 USS Hornet and there was a CV-12 USS Hornet. I want them to understand that, so what is a better way than by having them compare them? Because a person who's not really into history won't realize there were 2 USS Hornet aircraft carriers in World War II. And one more fun thing. Have you guys seen ThingLink? Just Stacy. Okay, good. I'm teaching people. ThingLink does this. It's rich media tags. Speaking as a former Catholic school student from K-8, I was very apt to lose my flashcards or to shuffle them incorrectly. With ThingLink, you can take a picture like this, and what you can do, see the little dots? When you roll over that, it is a Wikipedia article on each guy. And see the one with the little play button? That's a YouTube video of Kennedy throwing out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium. Is that an okay way to gather your notes? And that's web-based. So as a K-8 Catholic school boy, I would have been much more likely to go OCD on this. And then if it's web-based, guess what that means? I can look at it at home. I can share it with my teacher. And what I want to do is say things like, in this case, I would identify 6 guys on this page, give me 3 world events that were going on at this time. The kids drop all those links in. Then when they go to do their notes on paper, they would summarize all of those events, and then they would switch to their PowerPoint or Keynote. Make sense? How much does that cost? Free. And then I like to do things as scavenger hunts. So using ThingLink, this is what I developed for the summer. Find an epic pic of the Hornet, make it large, okay? Find 2 or 3 Wikipedia facts, a video clip, 3 pictures that are from the same era, and 2 plan views, because I want kids to talk about that in their presentation. And so those are the instructions that the kids would get. And then, yeah, it's that easy to sign up too. Name, email, password. So it's not one of those ones where you have 97 things to do. And have you guys seen Infused Learning? Okay, how many people know what CFUs are, right? Check for understanding. All right, this is what Infused Learning does that's magical. See where it says draw response? And this is not an app, it's a web page. You can actually draw something on screen and then ask the kids to finish the drawing on their whatever device they're on. How much does that cost? It's free. And when you sign up, it'll just give you a teacher classroom number. So you just tell the kids, go to Infused Learning, click on student login, put my classroom number. If you're doing bubble tests, because you can see what you can do there, when the bubble test is on, you will see each kid's progress as they're moving it through the activity. But my favorite part is the drawing aspect. Yeah, so they just go to student login. But Infused Draw allows me to do part of a math problem, send it to everybody, and they finish it. And when they're done, they push send, and it shows up on my screen. And that's really cool. And they just sent out an email that they're completely reworking the interface and adding more tools. So I would definitely check out Infused Learning. But that allows you to do quick CFUs, because I'm pretty big on the idea that if you can draw something, you can own it. So if I said to you guys, draw me a picture of the USS Monitor, and you close your eyes, the people that could draw that picture with 4 or 5 outstanding details would be the people that own that concept. If you close your eyes, do you have an interior monologue? You don't. You're just like, oh no, I don't know, I don't know. And if those of you that know the Monitor and what it looks like, raise your hands. It's pretty easy. It's a square and another square. It was the Monitor and Merrimack that fought in the Civil War. It would be an easy thing to draw, but if you can draw that thing, you probably own it, right? Add 5 important details like the ram and how the rotating turret works, which was the first ship that had a rotating turret in the 1862, I think, 1863. If you can draw that, how are you going to do on a bubble test? You probably do okay. I could apply that to battle maps from the Battle of the Bulge, or cell division, or the rain cycle. Hey, quick, draw the rain cycle. That's a good check for understanding. I'm not sure that that's necessarily the test, but if you can draw it, you own it. So looks like I'm on my last slide. That's my Gmail if you want to Gmail me. That's my Twitter if you want to Twitter me. I will answer. I will answer a lot. 1 minute. Ooh, I nailed it too. Okay, any questions or thoughts, or am I on the right track? Am I a crazy person? Crazy person's okay. I like that title. Thank you very much. The slides will be here later. Oh, and